wonderful, which sounds great, and that's why I brought this guy. So, can you tell me your name? James. How old are you, James? How old? 4. Right. Now, James, you have a little brother? What's his name? Titus, yeah. Now, where's he? At our house, yeah. He couldn't make the trip because he missed the van. And if you miss the van at our house, you have to walk, and he doesn't know how to walk, so he's not going to make it here anytime soon. Maybe in like a little over a year, he'll be here. But I want to talk to you guys about the fact that God created you. God formed you, God made you, God breathed life into you, and made you something incredible and something amazing. And we take that for granted. We take it for granted when we think about ourselves, and we take it for granted when we think about other people. It's easy for us to look at James and be like, he's so adorable. And I can say that because he's adopted. I have nothing to do with the way he looks. Like, he and I share no genetic material. He's fortunate for that. And so I can say, like, he's a handsome dude because A, he's my son and I love him, and B, like, I can't take any credit for it. And so, you guys don't realize what an amazing thing you are walking around every day. Now, some of you might be like, no, I'm not bad. Like, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about being like cocky or arrogant. I don't think you realize how incredibly intricate, awesome, and significant you are. And so, James, where are your eyes? Right there, all right. Now use your eyes to see. And scientists, biologists, everybody's fascinated by the human eye. It's a complex instrument that no camera, no computer has been able to replicate. When you're in the womb, when you're being formed, there's a point in your development where the fleshy part of your eyeball has formed, and your brain has formed, and 1 million optic nerves leave the fleshy part of your eyeball, and 1 million optic nerves leave the part of your brain, and they have to meet in the middle. And if they don't match up perfectly, like if number 1 doesn't meet up with number 1, and number 979,353 doesn't meet up with number 979,353, you don't see. And so 1 million, it'd be like if I blindfolded everybody and split you in half and gave you numbers, and we're like, go find your partner. Now, what are the odds that everybody would get it right without cheating? 0, right? I mean, pretty slim. Like, if we got it right, we'd be like, we have to tell somebody because this has to be some sort of record of some kind. But that's the intricacy involved in just you seeing. And most of us take seeing for granted, right? Because usually most mornings the first thing we see is an alarm clock, or our roommate or our house parent's face being like, you overslept, check in. And so we take seeing for granted. We don't usually wake up, open our eyes, and think, I can see! I can see, it's amazing! But there's colors, and like I can see these things. We don't act like that. And so when we read in the Bible that there was somebody who was blind and Jesus made him see, and they're like totally excited, we're like, we just kind of keep reading. That's an amazing deal. We don't understand. Those of you who have like really high prescription on your glasses, maybe get close. Like you take your glasses off and you're like, I'm just seeing shadows and shapes and things. And then you put your glasses on and you're like, oh, they're trees and people. You kind of understand this. Also, when you're in the womb, there's a point where this piece of skin that covers your eye, your eyelid, which is the thinnest skin on your body, by the way, there's a point where a mysterious blade, this is like medical journal jargon, a mysterious blade comes out and cuts the eyelid perfectly in half, and then they don't know where it came from, they don't know where it goes, which is wild, right? Imagine like you play that game where you put your hands on somebody's eyes, and you say like, guess who, and that mysterious blade just shows up again. You're like, oh my gosh, like what happened? So, but think about this too. Nobody's eyelids go this way. Okay, nobody in this room, no human being, right? And nobody like it's like an 80-20 split, right? It's just, it's pretty uniform down the center, and it works. The human brain, there are so many neuron impulses in here and signals that get transferred, like which for him translate to like, I would like cookies, can I watch Toy Story, can I play soccer, can I do all those things at the same time, I need to change my clothes again, like things like this. So where's Danny, where's Lewis, where's the other guys in the house, that kind of stuff. And so those signals though, there's so many different signals and combinations in the human brain that could take place. It outnumbers the amount of stars and galaxies in the known universe. That's all going on inside your head, which is why some days you need ibuprofen. There's a lot going on up there, right? James, where are your lungs? They're moving around, but they're right about here. And I don't recommend that you do this, okay? But if you took out your lung and unfolded it, it would be as long as a tennis court. Your lung has all these holes in it. The surface area of your lung is as long as a tennis court. So if you're ever playing, you're like, I don't think this tennis court is regulation. You're like, well, give me your lung. You have to do fast. That you're carrying that around inside of you. Your skin is the largest organ on your body. Where's your skin? There you go. Yeah. So your skin, you get new skin every couple of days, which is kind of wild. But if you took all your skin off, again, don't recommend you do this at home, it would cover an area of 21 square feet. Okay? Which is not quite the size of the area like in the student home that your bed occupies, like in that area, like, so if you just picture like that space, like that's covering you, which is kind of weird. And so you have, obviously like, the other thing is like the reason your house parents want you to dust your room is because 50% of all household dust is dead human skin cells. So, dust. A little public service announcement. Does anybody know about how many cells there are in the human body? Total. Trillions. And not infinity. That'd be kind of wild. Depending on who you ask, there's anywhere from 37 trillion to 75 trillion cells in the human body. 37 trillion is a colossal number. Okay? That's a colossal number. We don't understand that. Right? I mean, we can put it in perspective like a trillion seconds ago was 32,000 years ago. And that doesn't really help. Because it's still like, I can't compute that. A billion seconds ago was 32 years ago. Okay, so I'm just over a billion seconds old. Right? A million seconds ago was 12 days ago. I mean, so these are huge numbers. So to say that let's just go with the low number. There's 32 trillion cells in your body. 32 trillion cells. That's insane. In each one of those cells is your DNA. That's what makes you, you. That's what makes James, James, and not me. Your DNA, inside each of your cells, which you need to look at through a microscope, there is 6 feet of DNA in each of those cells. So somebody is, that's wrapped really tight. 6 feet of DNA in each of your cells. Which means, again, not something you want to try at home, but if you took all of your DNA out of all your cells and tied it up, end to end, stretched it out, it would go from the earth to the sun and back over 100 times. But how many of us wake up in the morning and are just like, holy cow, I'm alive. Right? But we get up, we're like mad that we're awake. We're upset that there's other people around. We wish that we didn't have these senses that we have. By the way, what's interesting is God has given us these senses because I believe God wants us to experience the world. So while you can choose to close your eyes, if you choose to open your eyes, you can't then choose not to see. Like there's no way to have your eyelids open and then shut your eyeballs off. You can't do it. You can't choose, you can choose not to listen, but you can't choose not to hear. You can plug your ears, but you'll still hear something. And then your other senses will kick in. Like you can try not to feel this, but it's going to happen. You can try not to smell, but you can plug your nose, but you can't be like, All right, brain, shut the olfactory sense down right now. I don't want to smell whatever's going on in that room, because it smells like feet and leftovers, so we don't want that. But God's given us these senses to experience the world. And so I want you guys just to think for a moment about all the things that, just replay in your head real quick, all the things you saw today. Just close your eyes and replay in your mind's eye all the things you saw today. Now chances are you can't remember everything. Okay? But here's the thing. You guys were made with incredible intention. There's reason why you have all the cells that you have. None of them are in there by accident. Right? It's not like you have like a huge chunk right here and just like leave around on the sidewalk and not be like, oh, I don't ever need that again. God has put you together for a reason. In the Bible, in one of the Psalms, David is writing and he's praising God and he says, you knit me together in my mother's womb. I wasn't hidden from you when I was being formed. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderfully made. I don't know about you guys. Well, actually, this probably just applies to me in this room, but my favorite part of the day, pretty much every day, no, actually, one of my favorite parts every day is when this guy wakes up. Those guys that live in my house know, he comes, sit down real quick. So pretend this is the door to our apartment. He's usually wearing footy pajamas. He comes running out. He's not even fully awake yet, but he's run out into the student home. And usually one of the guys in the house will be like, Daddy's this way, and steering. And then he's like, excited to see me. I'm excited to see him. Even if he was terrible the night before, I'm just excited to see him. I love it. I want him to have a great day. I can't wait to see what he's going to do, what he's going to say. And I think that God can't wait for you to wake up every day. And I know that might sound a little cheesy, a little corny, but I think God's like, I can't wait to see what they're going to do today. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with what I've given them today. And God's super excited to see you wake up. And so maybe you should be a little more excited to wake up, a little more excited when other people around you wake up. And consider the artistry that is in this room, that is on this campus, that is on this planet. In Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, Paul writes, he says, we are God's masterpiece, created in him to do good works. He doesn't say we're this thing God slapped together with whatever was lying around. He says masterpiece. We put masterpieces in museums. And Paul says that we're all God's masterpiece. And so God formed you with great intent, great desire, great artistry. And we should live in light of that. Now James, some of you may know the story of how James came to be in our lives. I'm not going to tell it right now. Other than James is adopted. James, somebody approached us and said, would you take our baby? And we were like, yes. But it was wild because we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know what he was going to look like. We didn't know how he was going to behave. We didn't know anything. And having a kid changes everything. And so we wanted James to know how important he was to us. We wanted him to know how significant he was to us. And so when he was born, we gave him a name. And we gave him the name James. The reason we gave him the name James is because both my wife and I, our favorite book in the Bible is this letter written by a guy named James. And in it he says that true religion is to look after orphans and widows and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. And so we wanted our son to know that this is the kind of thing that God values. So much so that he would carry around with him that every time somebody said his name, it would remind him of that truth. And his middle name is Providence. Providence is God's guidance, God's guiding hand in a situation, the way God works in our events and our circumstances and brings things about. James was not supposed to be here. There was a real possibility that his life was going to be ended before it began. And he knows, he's heard the story, he'll know it, he'll understand it more as he grows up. But 5 different times, his life was scheduled to be ended. And if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, come talk to me later. But 5 different times his life was scheduled to be ended. And every single one of those times, it snowed so bad that the appointment had to get canceled. Now you could say, coincidence. We say, providence. And so James' name, we didn't just say, we'd have a dartboard and we're like, Michigan, Botswana, Ogle. There we go. Dartboard, there's a map of the world. But we wanted his name to be significant, just like God may not have chosen your name. And maybe your parents chose your name for a variety of reasons. If you don't know why, you should talk to them about it. But if I'm this intentional about my son's name, and I am an imperfect, flawed human being, and I get super excited about when my son wakes up, and I'm an imperfect, flawed human being, think about how much effort and how much attention to detail and how much love God the Father puts into each and every one of you every single day. Because he's perfect. He's holy. He doesn't know how to do anything but love you to the max. And so my encouragement to you is simply this, is to look at yourself and remember that you're a masterpiece. And to then look at the people around you and remember that they are masterpieces too. And let's treat one another like we're incredible works of art. Let's pray. God, thank you so much for making us fearfully and wonderfully, for creating us so intricately. We thank you for your creativity. We thank you for diversity. We thank you that none of us look the same. And God, we thank you also for the love that you have for us, the excitement you feel for each and every one of us. And may we begin our days with that same kind of excitement and intention. It's in Jesus' name I pray. And everybody said, Amen. Just hold tight for 1 second. If you have questions for me, please don't hesitate to come ask me. Obviously, next week we'll be in the auditorium. Last time to bring your t-shirt designs. Please bring money for compassion. If you're going home this weekend, please be safe. Have an awesome time. Think about this masterpiece stuff, because the stuff we talk about doesn't just apply on Milton Hershey campus. It applies all over the place. If you're not going home, still enjoy your weekend. Have a great time here, and consider the masterpiece thing as well. We will begin every night, pretty much. We won't scan you out any earlier than 5 up. So like 7:55, we'll start scanning you out. So you can just chill from now until then. That's about 4 minutes. And so again, thank you guys so much for coming, for being patient, for playing the game, for having fun, and we hope to see you guys again. So have a great